Okay, so, oh, and I have a little thing in there. I'm going to talk to you guys about irregular verbs. So when we talk about a verb in Spanish, let me just put up a couple of them. Oops. Okay, so here's a couple of verbs that we have in Spanish. There are two parts to our verb. There's the stem. Actually, I'll do this. This is the stem. And then we have the ending. Okay. All right. So in each of these verbs, this is their stem. This stem, this part right here, tells us what's going on with the verb. Okay? This ob, comb, and beeb, what they tell us, ob lets us know that talking is happening, and comb lets us know that eating is happening, and beeb lets us know that living is happening. The ending tells us what kind of verb it is, whether it's an AR, an ER, or an IR. And then there's a set of endings. There's AR, ER, and IR endings. And when we start changing our verbs, so for example, if I have hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis. This, my ending, this is telling me who's doing the speaking. I'm speaking, you are speaking, he, she, or you are speaking. In some cases, you're going to need a little more information than just conjugating, like in this scenario. But here, we are speaking, y'all are speaking, so that ob lets us know that speaking is happening. But the ending lets us know who's doing the speaking, okay? So for most verbs, like all of these, you keep that stem because that stem lets everybody know what's going on. Because if I say hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, you keep hearing habla, so everyone that hears habla knows that speaking is happening. And if I say como, comes, comemos, coméis, comen, everybody knows that eat is happening because we keep hearing com, okay? Now, there are some verbs that are irregular. And when a verb is irregular, what it means is that either is not going to get the ending that is associated with it. For example, ser. Okay, so ER endings look like this. O, ES, E, EMOS, EIS, and EN. Those are our ER endings. But when I conjugate the verb ser, what I have, or I'll just do it like this. Soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son. So ser is an ER verb, but the endings that I'm getting here are not the endings that are over here, right? Oops. Okay. So verbs are irregular when they don't get the endings they're supposed to get, or if there's some sort of change to their stem. And another one that would be an example of that is tener, which we probably have already, you guys should have seen before. Here's tener. Tengo, tienes, tiene. Hold on a minute, let me make that bigger. Okay. Tener, tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tenés, tienen. Okay, so with tener, you can see that it is an ER verb, okay? And its endings are the ones that you see associated with an ER verb, Okay, there's no problem with the endings. We are getting the endings that these endings are these endings, which are the ones it's supposed to get. However, if you look at its stem does change. Okay, the stem is supposed to just be T-E-N, but I've got T-E-N-G, T-I-E-N, T-I-E-N. Okay, so when a verb is irregular, it's either classified as such because its endings are not what we expect, or because there's some sort of change to the stem. Okay, so the first set we're going to learn are ones that are called stem changers, meaning that they do have a change to their stem. Let's see here. Okay, so one type of stem changing verb are actually let me go back and make that smaller, are called E to IEs, and that's kind of like our tener. If you looked at tener, it has an E, the stem is an E, but sometimes its stem is an IE, right? Instead of just a plain E. Okay, so this first set that we have are E to IE, so querer, perder, pensar, and despertar, all of these work like tener. And when you have a verb that's a stem changer, that means that its stem is going to have a change everywhere but nosotros and vosotros. Those are the only places where it keeps its original stem. Okay. So for example, if I was doing, let's see here. Let's see here. I'll take all of this, I guess. Okay. So if I take one of these other verbs and do the same thing, we already had despertar written out here. Let's say I just do one of these other verbs. Let's say I do perder, for example. I want to conjugate. Oops. I'm sorry, having it not match is bothering me, so I'm going to fix it a little bit. Okay. So if I have the verb perder, okay, perder is an E to IE stem changer. That means that this stem right here, sometimes we're going to use the regular for nosotros and vosotros. We're going to use the original stem, which is paired. And sometimes we're going to take that E, because it's an E to IE, we're going to get rid of that E and replace it with an IE. In fact, okay? So for everywhere but nosotros and vosotros, we use the changed one. So here I'm going to need pierd, pierd, pierd. Here I use the regular one, and here I use the change again. Okay, and then I just add my ER endings. O, whoops. ES, E, EMOS, EIS, and EN. Okay, so when you're told it's a stem changer and it's an E to IE, that's what you would do to it. And let me just check on my time here. Okay. There are other types of stem changers. Sometimes you'll have E to I stem changers, and they do the exact same thing. The only difference is that instead of an E to IE, it's an E to I. So if I go back out here, take this. Okay, so we did it with decir. If I do it with servir, well, we just saw servir. So let's say I do it with pedir, okay? So this time they are E to I stem changers, that means that sometimes I'm going to use the regular stem, and sometimes I'm going to have to change that E to an I. Okay, and then I would have, here I'm going to use the change stem everywhere but for nosotros and vosotros. Okay, and then I would just add my endings, my IR endings. Okay. Okay, and then there's one more set of these, which are O to UEs. They all work the same, but this time, instead of the stem changing from an E to an I or an O to a U, it changes to a UE. So they did poder. They've done pretty much all of them. Jugar also falls in this category because jugar is it's a U to UE, so they lump it together with the O to UEs. Let me just fix this really quickly. Okay, so if we do volver, its stem is volv. Sometimes we're going to use that stem, volv, and sometimes we're going to use the change. We'll take that would be the original stem, but since it's a stem changer, that O in the stem gets changed to a UE. Okay, and we're going to use that change one everywhere but nosotros and vosotros. So we would have vuelve, 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 volve, volve, vuelve. And then you add your endings. Vuelvo, vuelves. And I'm adding ER endings because volver is an ER verb. Volves, vuelven.